am Becky Squire, and this week's article is How to Stop Being So Offended. Now, I am actually recording this video about maybe 2 years after I wrote this article and published it, and so I wanted to give a little backstory. When I wrote this, it was the year that President Trump was elected in November, and the country was kind of going crazy, mostly on social media, at least from my point of view. And I was noticing that no matter what perspective, no matter what opinion or political perspective you might have, people were getting so offended. And so it really got me thinking as to why people were getting so offended and how we can stop it. But even more than in politics, people are choosing to get offended over almost anything. Is it really worth it to place your opinion higher than the value of a person? Yes, being offended is a choice. I love this quote by David A. Bednar. He says, "It is ultimately impossible for another person to offend you or to offend me. Indeed, believing that another person offended us is fundamentally false. To be offended is a choice we make. It is not a condition inflicted or imposed upon us by someone or something else. You cannot offend me, and I cannot offend you." There is such power in those words, and by choosing to take offense, you are ultimately creating a prison for yourself. And I would venture to say that your offender probably had no ill intention and probably doesn't even know that they offended you. They probably won't give that situation another fleeting thought. Choosing to take offense is choosing to dwell in a negative space. And it's not an easy skill to acquire. In fact, I think that it's something that we need to consciously work at every single day. So, how do we choose not to be offended? First, put yourself in the offender's shoes. Understand that their perspective is unique to them, and you can't understand the entirety of it. Seek what is helpful instead of being focused on what you find offensive. Listen with the goal of understanding, not arguing. Meaning, don't just sit there and wait for your turn to speak. Actually listen and try to understand. Always be asking what that other person can teach you. Search for what you can learn, and I think you'll be amazed at what you can find. Next is to realize that your opinions are not you. And on the flip side, their opinions are not them. They don't define them. You are not emotionally attached to your opinions. You don't have to be anyway. You are allowed to change your mind, and you are allowed to disagree with someone. But that doesn't define you. Many people are easily offended because they can't emotionally differentiate between their thoughts and their inner sense of self. But if you tie your identity with your opinion so closely, you will feel rejected if that opinion is disagreed with. And that can obviously hurt, but it is inaccurate. Next, love the person more than you love being right. I think that's hard for a lot of people. If you value your relationship with whoever may have offended you, then don't let opposition to your thoughts and beliefs create a wedge between the two of you. Don't feel that it is your obligation to change people. Being a friend is loving them wherever they are. No strings attached. Next is accept others' imperfections. If you expect others to act and speak a certain way, or assume that others will be as kind or understanding as you are, you will almost always be offended. Instead, allow people to be human. They are, after all. Show them compassion when they don't rise to your expectations. We all have flaws, including me and including you. Theirs might just be different than yours, and that's okay. And the last one is to accept yourself. True compassion should not allow harm to ourselves either. See yourself as more than your behavior. Self-acceptance will cancel others' ability to offend you. Validation doesn't come from their opinions about you, it comes from within. I think it's a great challenge in our world today to live a life of contentment, regardless of what other people do, say, or think, especially when we love those people so dearly. It might take a lifetime to practice, but I think it's truly one of the best kept secrets for living a happy life.